Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day to everyone. Before we begin today's webinar, I would like to share a few housekeeping reminder for everyone here on board. So first, please keep your microphone muted throughout the session to minimize background noise. So we really appreciate you to invite to speak during Q&A session. Kindly unmute your microphone whenever the time comes. The second question may be submitted anytime using Zoom Q&A function or the chat box. We encourage you to include your name and institution when submitting your question, and this question will be addressed, a selected question will be addressed during the Q&A session right after the presenter or the speaker session. This webinar is being recorded, so for documentation and educational purposes. So by remaining in this session, your consents to the recording. The attendance link will be shared in the chat box later on during the webinar. Please complete the attendance before the end of the session to receive your e-certificate for participant and or maybe IIUM staff and family. And then presentation material, we want to share with you at the discretion of the speaker. And if you have any experience, any technical difficulties, please inform the organizing committee through the chat box and we will do our best to assist you. Okay, we kindly ask everyone to remain respectful and maintain professional etiquette throughout the session. Okay, thank you very much for your cooperation. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. So to distinguished speakers, respected guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Institute of Planetary Survival for Sustainable Wellbeing, Planetiium at International Islamic University, Malaysia, it's my great pleasure to welcome all of you to Planetiium International Webinar Series Peace Series 2, 2026. I'm Dr. Muhammad Hanif bin Jailabdin from Planetiium, and I will be your MC and moderator for today's webinar. Today's webinar brings together three inspiring speakers who will share different perspectives on how education can improve environmental stewardship and sustainable well-being. Joining us today are teacher Noorjahan Sultan from SK Assunta Convent, Kuantan, Malaysia, where we speak on Beyond the Bins, using repurposed material to inspire learning and environmental awareness. Second speaker, we have Ms. Syaza Soraya Sauli from Universiti Teknologi, Malaysia, we'll be presenting from Muddy Sand to Eco Heroes. And finally, we have our third speakers from Indonesia, Ms. Etty Rahmawati from Yayasan Alam Sihat Lestari, ASRI, Indonesia, who will share Walking the Talk, how ASRI's internal culture become a powerful educational tool. Really interesting. We sincerely thank all of our speakers for accepting our invitation and for sharing their valuable experience with us today, inshallah. Before we officially begin, I would like to invite everyone to watch a short video introducing Planetiium, right?
In the heart of Kuantan,
institution, vision, mission, and commitment towards advancing planetary health, sustainable well-being, and impactful research and community engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the video.
In the heart of Kuantan, an institute of innovation and sustainability leads the way. Planetiium, a place where science meets purpose and ideas transform into action for a healthier planet. Planetiium began its journey in 2013 as the IMLEC. Over the years, it grew into a center of excellence, expanding its scope and impact to address the world's most pressing challenges. Our vision is to be a top center for research and innovation in health, biodiversity, and climate change. Our mission is to work together across fields to create solutions that improve lives and protect the planet. With dedicated leadership, passionate researchers, and strong support teams, Planetiium works as one, united for a common purpose. Our research is guided by 4 pillars: food security, climate crisis, health empowerment, and biodiversity. Together, they form the foundation of our work. We are committed to the 4 Rs: rescue, restore, reintegrate, and resurrect, as our approach to protecting life and ecosystems. Planetiium offers postgraduate opportunities, including the PhD and Master of Health Science programs, nurturing the next generation of researchers and leaders. We provide specialized services, from laboratory animal supply, research consultation and training, to environmental and health assessments. Our state-of-the-art facilities support cutting-edge research, equipped with modern laboratories, training spaces, and collaborative work areas. Through our internship programs, students gain real-world experience, hands-on skills, and the opportunity to contribute to impactful projects. Planetiium houses specialized research units, each dedicated to advancing knowledge and solutions in their respective fields. Frozen Zoo, a genetic resource bank that preserves the DNA and reproductive materials of endangered species, safeguarding biodiversity for future generations. Basics Biosphere Courtyard, an interactive space designed to showcase biodiversity, sustainable practices, and green innovations, inspiring community to connect with nature and learn about planetary health. CNAR, Special Needs Community Wellbeing Training and Research Center, a center dedicated to improving the lives of people with disabilities through research, training, and community support. Earthling, Educational Planetary Health Learning Program, an educational program that teaches children and youth about hygiene, health, and environmental care through fun, hands-on activities. Beyond the lab, we engage with communities through awareness campaigns, educational workshops, and volunteer programs, bringing science closer to the people. Our work is strengthened through collaborations with universities, industries, government agencies, and NGOs, both locally and internationally. From research breakthroughs to community impact, Planetiium has been recognized for excellence, innovation, and contribution to society. Planetiium, where science, innovation, and passion unite for a sustainable future. Together we make the planet a healthier place for all.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. So that's the video introducing Planetiium as a whole. So allow me a little bit to maybe come in between our first speakers, and I would like to tell a little bit further on about Earthling itself. So maybe we have a slide. We take around 2 to 3 minutes. So this is an official educational, our very own homegrown planetary health learning program module that we are developing. Next slide. So this is basically the background. If you would like to share a little bit, that they basically try to tackle the early generation or young learners generation, which is disengaged or detached from the real world, and with the threat of the over digital or devices or equipment that probably helping them learning, but somehow also connecting or disconnecting them from the physical world. So having the issue revolve around the evolution of technology, also in the same way, inevitably introducing some problem in regards to the connection to the real and physical world. Next slide. Okay, so this is an introduction about Earthling program. It inspires young learners, children to care for themselves, their community, and the planet. And Earthling is a vital for instilling environmental consciousness in young generations. So this is our objective. Basically, we're looking into to develop a holistic curriculum that encompassing health empowerment, food security, biodiversity conservation, and climate action, basically our pillars, research pillars in Planetiium. And this is to cultivate a sense of environmental responsibility, empathy, and stewardship in young learners, promoting sustainable behavior from an early age, finally, we want to enhance to help our teachers, educators through training of trainers, TOT, with practical pedagogical tools, resources that to impart a planetary educational effectively. And this is the module that we have developed so far. I mean, throughout 2023 until this year, we have come out with a different set of activities that we implement in the school, although we have the repertoire of the modules, but this is what we have implemented so far. Maybe we can look at it briefly. Next. So this was the first Earthlink that was conducted in 2023 with IUM Educare in Kuantan, and also in conjunction with IUM Gombak, where we have our students, university students that become the manpower and also to organize the whole activity with IUM Educare. Next. And this is some of the snapshot moments that we captured during the activities. Next. And some of the things that we encourage here, we are promoting a recycle activity in IUM campus. So we are contributing handcrafted recycle bins from repurposed tires, showing our commitments towards recycle and upcycle, repurpose all these waste materials. And this is very interesting, where they take this as a souvenirs, and we can park that at their premises at the IUM campus. Thanks. So the second one, we move on from environmental, and we also tackling in regards to health empowerment. In this case, we perform short activities in regards to hand hygiene, and that's what we call a glitter germs. So it was developed to empower our young learners to take charge of their hygiene and contribute to healthier community, and indirectly also contribute to a better and healthier community in our city. Next. So this is a groundwork in progress. Some of this was conducted with our partnership in Kuliah of Nursing and also Environmental Protection, or EPMC community within IUM Kuantan. So they come up with some great ideas to have a handmade soap, and this is we contributed to the activity to use the soap as hand washing during hand washing activities. Next. So this is just a short snapshot from the event. Next. Okay, we also actively generating some manuscript article promoting our activities and our what we call the sustainable modules among the young learners to introduce this to the wider audience in the public. Next. So this was conducted last year. So we're also maintaining our connection with IUM Educare for about 3 to 4 years already. And it was about food security. We teach the children regarding the difference between vegetable and fruits, get them to know the nutritional value, food security, and we encourage them to plant a seed and grow a tree out of it. Next. And maybe this is some snapshot of the during the event. Next. Yep. Okay. Just last week, we successfully conducted the fourth Earthlink. It was conducted with Sekolah Assunta, SK Assunta Convent, and that was really interesting session. And definitely there has been a lot of interactive planetary health activity station that we extracted from the module that we developed. And we also add on some guided tour of the laboratory, animal laboratory, because it was in-house. And also we invited a university student to inspire our young learners from SK Assunta to learn about the future career in health and in medical sciences. So it was a very interesting activity, and it was encouraging, and we really engaged with teachers as well in regards to future collaboration to sekolah kebangsaan, and insyaAllah in the future to sekolah menengah and carry on to a higher level, insyaAllah. Next. So that's a little bit of conclusion. That's what we want. We have a vision to create a unique opportunity to foster academic excellence and deeper understanding of interconnectedness of individual, community, and environment. And we want to be a pioneer on also looking into embedding these elements of planetary or environmental health into a schooling ecosystem, including sekolah kebangsaan, sekolah menengah kebangsaan, or even sekolah menengah agama. That is our vision, insyaAllah. And this is we seen as a powerful step towards nurturing responsible and informed Malaysian citizens in the future who can make a meaningful difference in this world, insyaAllah. Next. So I think that's a little bit of a Earthling, and this is our previous webinar on climate change, food security, biodiversity conservation, health empowerment that tackle probably a university student, lecturer, academician, and policy makers to get to know around our pillar of research pillars in the institute. Next. Okay, so now this is our speakers. Without further ado, next. Let us begin today's Planetiium International Webinar Series. We will now begin the first session for today's webinar. Our first speaker is teacher Noorjahan Sultan from SK Assunta Convent, Kuantan. Allow me to read introduction or biography of teacher Noorjahan. Is an award-winning Malaysian educator, trainer, author, and literacy advocate, currently serving as a teacher at SK Assunta Convent Kuantan. She is renowned for advancing English literacy through innovative teachings and is the creator of the internationally recognized Let's Rhyme module, an award-winning program that enhances vocabulary, reading, and readiness, pronunciation, and communication skills. A recipient of the Pearson ELT Teachers Award Asia and Oceania in 2018, and a Global Teacher Prize Top 50 finalist in 2016. She is also recognized as a Malaysia teacher icon. Through workshop, professional development, and collaborations with educational institutions, she continues to inspire educators, learners while championing literacy and lifelong learning. Today, she will share her experience in a presentation entitled Beyond the Bin, using repurposed material to inspire learning and environmental awareness. I'm sure her presentation will inspire us with the practical ideas that can be adapted in our own educational setting. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to invite teacher Noorjahan Sultan to deliver her presentation. Teachers, the virtual floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, our esteemed MC, Assistant Professor Dr. Muhammad Anif Jainuddin, and also our Mr. Moderator for this morning. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Miss Syaza Soraya Sauli from Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, and Miss Etty Rahmawati from Yayasan Alam Sihat Lestari Indonesia, and all the participants joining us today for the webinar, Teaching for the Planet, Education as a Driver of Sustainable Well-Being. And together with us is also Encik Suhazli Rahim, Assistant Director from Pahang State Education Department. Thank you for joining. And it is a pleasure to be here today to share my journey beyond the bin using repurposed materials to inspire learning and environmental awareness. And I sincerely thank you for taking the time to participate in this meaningful session. Right, I'll share my slides here. Okay. So can everyone see the slides? Okay,
Yes,
good.
clear.
Okay, all right, good. So when we hear the word recycling, many of us immediately think of separating paper, plastic, and glass into different bins. Okay, while that is certainly important, I began to wonder if teaching recycling could mean something more. So in 2007, after spending 13 years teaching in primary schools, I embarked on a new journey as a preschool teacher. So it was a significant transition and it challenged me to see teaching through a different lens. So I began asking myself a series of simple yet powerful questions. At the same time, I encourage my students to think beyond what they saw as waste and to imagine the possibilities hidden within everyday discarded items. Together, we explored how ordinary objects could be transformed into meaningful resources for learning, creativity, and play. So, what if the things we usually throw away could become meaningful learning resources? What if pictures from old magazines and newspapers could be transformed into scrapbooks that inspire creativity and literacy? What if a bottle cap, if you can see the picture, what if a bottle cap could become a mathematics manipulative? What if a milk measuring scoop could be used to teach counting? What if old clothes and fabrics could be given a second life as useful materials? What if something as small as bread tag, the tag that we can see on the bread that contains the expiry date, could become the centerpiece of a child's artwork? These questions eventually led me to an even bigger one. What if helping children understanding the principles of reducing, reusing, repurposing, and recycling could nurture not only creativity, but also a lifelong sense of responsibility to our planet? So from that moment on, I wanted my students to see every discarded items not as a waste, but as a possibility to learn, to create, to solve problems, and to care for the environment. So today I would like to share with you how this simple shift in perspective transform everyday waste into meaningful learning opportunities. So to begin with, I would like to share a short video presented by my students. It is a simple rhyming performance entitled Let's Recycle. So as you watch the video, notice the children are not only reciting and performing, but also learning values, responsibility, teamwork, and love for the environment while performing. Yeah. So this simple activity demonstrates that environmental educational can begin with language learning and joyful classroom experience. Miss Putri, please help me to play the video. Thank you. I think it's mute.
Yeah, it is mute, and our technical teams try to get back on track,
Okay.
get the
All
sound
right.
again.
It's a very short video. Oh, I don't know about others, but I can't hear the video, but it's okay.
I can hear it just now.
Okay, that's good. All right. So I share my slides again, yeah? So from waste to wonderful learning materials. So as teachers, actually, as teachers, we are constantly looking for engaging teaching resources. Instead of buying expensive materials, I began looking at discarded items differently. So I call this repurposing for education. Repurposing. Repurposing is different from upcycling. Upcycling is where we added value and we can sell the items that being created. Yeah, but for repurposing, it is just about using it in a different manner. So these materials are inexpensive, sustainable, and highly engaging because children enjoy learning through hands-on experience. So more importantly, children begin to realize that many things we consider waste still have value. So for example, as you can see on the screen, so this is my son's collection of milk spoons, yeah? So he was born in 2005, and I began collecting these little spoons simply for him to play with, without any particular purpose. So at that time, they were just another toy. So as time went by, I realized their educational potential and brought them into my preschool classroom as learning materials. So these spoons chains quickly became valuable hands-on teaching aids. If you look closely, you can see that the one of the chains represents the number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. On the screen, it's number 10, yeah? So beyond supporting addition and subtraction activities, the spoon chains encourage children to explore number relationships and discover the different mathematical operations that connect one number to another. Through play and exploration, students develop a deeper understanding of number patterns, sequencing, and early mathematical thinking. So I'll show you some of the pictures. So, okay, so for example, in this picture, the chain is chain 6. I call them in Bahasa Melayu, sudu, susu, rantai, sudu, susu, rantai enam. Okay, so the students are able to create as many as possible operations using the spoons. And not only solving mathematical problems like 6 minus 3 or 3 plus 3, but they are able also to create as many operational from that particular numbers. Yeah, right. Sometimes we encourage them to do a group work, so there will be communication, critical thinking, and allow them to think together on how to create more operational from that spoons. Yeah. Some of the pictures. Okay. And sometimes we use other spoons, and if you can see the slides, yeah, colorful spoons and multiple waste items, multiple reused items to solve problems. Okay, this is the extra fabrics, yeah, from tailor shops, yeah, from the tailors, yeah, we got it from the tailors and give it to the students. And for the Children's Day, we make them exhibit their handmade craft of which they did together with their parents. Yeah. These are some of the scrapbooks that has been done with this group of teachers during my workshop with the teachers. Yeah. And these are all pictures from old magazines, old newspapers, where we introduce letters to the students and, to make them more fun and meaningful, asking them to find pictures and make them say the word and let them think of what will be the initial sound of the letter of the word. And they compile, they sort, and they make a scrapbook out of it. This is mathematic, a scrapbook, also using reused materials. So this is the one, the bread that I shared just now. Okay, this is a bank deposit slip that I used to help young children recognize and read numbers. Okay, to make the activity more engaging, I invite them to say the numbers just like the automated number calling system you hear in a bank, 1010. So one of my most unforgettable classroom moments involved a child who had not, if you can see the boy here, if I can show you. Okay, no, I cannot because I cannot see the boy. All right. So one of my most unforgettable classroom moments involved a child who had not yet mastered number recognition. He was 4 plus, yeah. He was 4 plus, not even 5 years old. And when it was his turn, he confidently announced the number with perfect style, rhythm, and intonation, exactly like a real bank number machine. The only problem was that the number on the slip that he was holding was 2531, but he proudly called it out 4796. So the whole idea is he has not recognized the number, but he has the confidence to participate and to say it loud and clear, like the bank, like all his friends. And later on, he told me that he won only number 1010 because those are the two numbers that he only recognized that moment. So every time we had that activity, he will take that 1010 slip so that he can always participate in the activity. So the entire class, I still remember the entire class burst into laughter and I could not help but smile. Although the numbers were completely wrong, his confidence, expression, and delivery was spot on. So it was a delightful reminder that learning is not just about getting the right answer, it is also about building confidence, encouraging participation, and creating joyful learning experience. So moments like this remind me that when children feel safe, engaged, and excited to learn, mistakes become stepping stones rather than setbacks. So every material in these pictures has a story. Every material was once something someone intended to throw away, but with a little creativity and imagination, everyday discarded items. This is if you remember, those days we have this parking ticket. So the only number that will be scratched is only one number, kan? After that, we cannot use the ticket anymore. So I collected all the tickets and let my students have this activity where they can have this eye and hand coordination activities before we go to the number recognition. And when we say aloud the number, now let's everyone scratch number 2. So the whole class will be scratching number 2 and so on. Yeah. So this activity, sometimes they can have it on their own, together with their partner, with their friends, in their group or pairing work. Yeah. So with a little creativity and imagination, everyday discarded items can be given a new purpose, transforming them into meaningful learning tools that inspire curiosity, creativity, and joyful learning in every child. So these are some of the old calendars we used to teach syllabus, yeah. and boxes and what do you call that? The potato chips container. Okay, the words actually we can change the words by moving. If you can see the buku Ali Baru, it can actually move the words, so they can create more sentence, from that one particular teaching aid. So one of the best way to ensure that there will be a healthy planet for future generation is to teach little ones about reuse and repurpose. Okay, right. So as my journey continued, I realized that this idea should not remain within the walls of my classroom, my own classroom. So in 2017, I was given the opportunity to conduct workshops for teachers across Malaysia, sharing practical and creative ways to transform everyday discarded items into meaningful teaching and learning resources. So the purpose was never simply to reduce costs or save money. Rather, it was to demonstrate that effective teaching is driven not by expensive resources, but by creativity and innovation. So when teachers become creative, classrooms become innovative. When classrooms become innovative, children become inspired. And when children become inspired, learning become more meaningful. So this journey has been both rewarding and humbling. In recognition of these efforts, I was honored to receive the 3R Teacher Icon Award for the Pahang State and from SW Corp Pahang in 2022. The award was not only a personal milestone, but also a testament to the power of creativity, sustainability, and education in shaping a better future. So my journey then expanded beyond schools. Through our NGO, we organized a competition encouraging teachers to create innovative teaching materials using recycled and repurposed materials. So the competition was more than identifying winners. So we make sure that it create a platform for teachers to exchange ideas, inspire one another, and celebrate sustainable teaching practices. Now, if you look closely, you will notice that the souvenir presented to the souvenir presented to the distinguished guest was a piece of artwork created using bread tags. Yeah, so one of the many everyday items that most people would simply throw away. So I've also documented many of these ideas in a dedicated Facebook album showcasing how bread tags can be transformed into teaching and learning materials. It has been widely shared among educators, inspiring many teachers to look beyond beyond conventional classroom resources and discover the educational potential hidden in everyday discarded items. Yeah. So in 2022, following severe floods in Pahang, many schools lost valuable reading materials. So through our NGO, Melta, so I was the chapter leader back then, Malaysian English Language Teaching Association, we organized a book donation program simply because to give a new hope and life to books. Yeah, right. With support from generous donors and volunteers, we collected approximately 4,000 books and distributed them to 100 schools all over Pahang. So the event was officiated by the State Education Exco, Datuk Seri Said Ibrahim Ahmad. Yeah. So these are some of the newspaper coverage from the event. So what touched our hearts was that our initiative had opened the eyes of YBSCO about the need for reading materials in the classroom. So therefore, apart from the contribution of storybooks collected by us, YB also contributed 1,000 ringgit for each class affected by the flood. Yeah, for each class affected by the flood. So these are some of the newspaper articles. Right, this was the YBS school. Back then, he was also in charge of education. Yeah, and environmental awareness through reading. This is what I am now actively doing in my school, and also sharing it with other schools all over the country. Yeah, using rhyming text. So children first read the rhyme, okay, then they recite it together. So for example, in this context, the title of the rhyme is Let's Recycle. It was the rhyme recited by the students just now, yeah? Recycling things is not hard at all. It doesn't matter if you're big or small. Take a moment to think before you litter. Place into the right bin to save the nature. Recycle and reuse and make the world clean. Recycle and reuse to keep the world green. Recycling things is just so easy. It is fun and joy and also free. First, we make them recite naturally, and we instill some actions with the correct pronunciation together with intonation and allow them to make actions as they understand the words. And later, we do lots of post-reading activities like drawing posters, decorating the worksheet, creating recycled crafts and worksheets. Yeah, so this is one of the worksheet that students have been doing. So besides recycle, we also introduce other R's that comes along with the how to save the planet. Yeah, the respect, restore, refuse, reduce, and we explain to them what to refuse, what to reduce, what to repurpose, how to rethink before we throw, things that we can reuse, things that we can repair, things that we can recycle, and it takes a responsibility on the whole community to ensure that this planet can be saved by us. Yeah. So through these literacy activities, children do not simply learn only English, but they develop the environmental awareness. They begin to understand why recycling matters. They understand how small actions can protect the earth. So reading, on the other hand, becomes a powerful tool for character building. Yeah. So language learning becomes environmental education. So some of the key lessons from this presentation. So meaningful learning throughout my journey, I have learned several important lessons which I would like to share here. So first, meaningful learning does not depend on expensive resources. Secondly, creativity can transform ordinary ways into extraordinary learning experiences. Third, environmental awareness begin with everyday classroom practices. Finally, when teachers, students, and communities work together, small actions can create lasting impact. And the conclusion, as the title of today's sharing is Beyond the Bin. So for me, going beyond the bin means looking beyond waste. It means seeing possibility instead of rubbish. It means turning discarded materials into opportunities, transforming classrooms, empowering teachers, engaging communities, and inspiring children to become more responsibility caretakers of our planet. So as educators, every lesson we teach plants a seed. May we continue planting seeds of creativity, sustainability, and environmental responsibility in every child we teach. So together we can prove that the greatest learning materials sometimes begin with the simples, simplest materials. Yeah. Greatest learning sometimes begin with the simplest materials. So I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. You are welcome, teacher. Thank you very much, teacher Noorjahan, for that inspiring, truly inspiring and practical presentation. What an incredible initiative. I like it. Teachers, your sharing has demonstrated that sustainability education does just not depend on expensive or sophisticated resources, right? By creatively, as you prove that, repurposing everyday materials, you have shown how simple ideas can be transformed into very meaningful and yet still joyful learning experience. Now, may I invite everyone using claps or heart reaction in Zoom to show your appreciation by giving teacher Noorjahan a big round of applause using that icon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your wonderful support. Okay. Now we open the floor. We start with a bit of Q&A session. So if you have any question for teacher, please submit them using our chat box, and then or maybe if you would like to say it loud, you can try. We encourage you to include your name and institution where you come from when asking question. We try to address it as many questions as the time permits. Any question from the floor or from the chat box? Okay, maybe I can read a short comment from Nushahira Ahmad Sobri to everyone here to thank you, Madam Noorjahan. It was really touched that you went all the effort to teach children about recycling from young age. The world needs more people like you indeed. Thank you very much. Any question before we move on to the second speaker? Okay, so if you have any more question right after this, or maybe we can pull it all together after our third speaker. Do we have one? Okay, seems like we have one. Can we take one, teacher Noorjahan? Okay, can we take one question, teacher? Yeah, the question is, how was parents support
Sure.
and how was parent support and encouragement for this reused material throughout your journey, teacher?
Come again?
The question is asking, how's the support from parents? Did you receive any encouragement and support from parents for these reused materials, education materials throughout your journey?
Yes, yes. Yes, I received a very strong support from my parents. When I mean my parents, my students' parents. But you have to explain to the parents what is your objective of doing those activities, and at the same time we shouldn't put lots of pressure on them. We should give them a time frame. Like for example, we had 3 months collecting pictures. So the students are allowed to bring pictures to the school, any pictures that they found attractive, colorful, any size. So when they bring the pictures to the school, we have 26 plastic in order at the back of the classroom. And when the students bring picture, for example, the picture is a picture of Nestum. So we talk together with the whole classmates. What is the picture about? So it is, let's say everyone can say the word Nestum. So some of them, they do not recognize the letter N yet, but we allow some of them might have already recognized. So we make them say the word, identify the initial sound of the word, and for the child who brought the picture, we make the child to put in the plastic and plastic. If the word is started with the letter B, put in the B plastic. If the word started with the letter C, put in the C plastic. So they had 3 months time frame to bring pictures. And if some of them are not able to get any pictures and they do not bring any pictures to the school, they still can be involved in the activities by having the brainstorming. What is the word about? What will be the letter? What is the initial sound? So there's no pressure. But through my experience, we get lots of support from parents, as long as number one, we make them understand the purpose of these activities. Number two, the time frame. So we don't put lots of pressure on the parents. Like if you remember the pictures that I show about these
Mhm.
extra fabric, the jeans fabric that I got from the tailors. I gave the to the parents. I gave them I think I gave them around 1 month to do the activity with the student, with their child. I call the name. I still remember the name of the activity is mom and daughter activity. Mom and child for the Children's Day lah. Mom and child activity. And so they were doing the activities together and they brought. Some of them didn't bring it. And definitely there will be students who brought back the material without doing anything, but still they enjoy looking at the exhibition of other students' outcome. And maybe later it will inspire them that, oh, okay, this material can be turned into this small purse, handphone case, pencil box, small handbags, those kind of things.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, teacher. We do
Yeah.
have two more questions in the chat box, but I think for the time concerns, then we may want to move to the second speaker. But I think, can you take one more, and then perhaps, teacher, you can address that answer in the chat box. Is that okay with you, teacher, to take one
Sure,
more?
sure, sure.
Take
Yeah,
one
yeah.
more, and then the other one you can answer it through the chat box. So the second one.
Sure. I'll respond in the chat box. Yeah.
Yeah, the second one, can we take a live from you on the second one? I think it's quite important and practical. How do you ensure that these recycled materials remain safe, durable, and suitable for young children? I think that's perhaps one of a practical question that maybe come out in.
Yes. Yes, yes. It is very important, yeah, for children. I mean, for teachers when they decided to use reuse materials, they must number one must make sure that the materials are safe for children in terms of their physical and also I mean inner, like you can't simply use batteries because these are the very young kids. They might want to smell, or I don't know batteries how it works in the classroom, but I don't take a risk by using those uh, questionable materials. So if you remember the picture that I showed just now, one of the material is um the scratch, the parking lot scratch ticket. Okay, and in fact, that is not. I was questioned by one of my participants during my international conference whether or not the scratch, because it is. I think it is made from plumbum or some kind of plumbum. I'm not sure, but it is not so safe for children. But later on, when I understand that it is not only, I mean, it is not that risky, but we must make sure that the students don't put the ticket in their mouth, because if only they are using their hands, shouldn't be a problem, and it doesn't involve any in terms of breathing problem, no, nothing about that also. But the most important thing is the scratch couldn't the students shouldn't put the plumbum coming from the scratch into their mouth. That's all. So I make sure that I told my students that.
Okay, thank you very much, Teacher Noorjahan. Once again, thank you to everyone for your thoughtful question, and thank you once again, teacher, for your insightful responses and for sharing your valuable experience with us today. Alhamdulillah. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, we shall now move on to our second presentation. So our next speaker is Ms. Syaza Soraya Sauli from Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, UTM Malaysia. Ms. Syaza, maybe allow me to read a little bit of the biography of Ms. Syaza. Ms. Syaza Soraya Sauli is a PhD candidate at the Universiti Teknologi Malaysia, whose research focuses on nature-based learning, nature connectedness, and environmental values in early childhood education. Her work explores how meaningful interaction with nature can nurture sustainability awareness and environmental stewardship among young children, particularly within the Malaysia preschool context. She is a recipient of the Merdeka Award grant for international attachment in 2023, which supported her academic and research engagements in the United States, Japan, and Australia. In addition, she is actively involved in the Leave No Child Indoors project with the National Institute of Education and Nanyang Technological University, and served as a policies and advocacy subgroup leaders for the Young Children Climate Change Working Group for the World Forum Foundation. So that's a bit introduction about our second speaker. Today, she will present her talk entitled From Muddy Hands to Eco Heroes. In this session, she will share how immersive experience in nature can inspire children to become environmentally responsible individuals and future stewards of our planet. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to invite Ms. Syaza Soraya Sauli to deliver her presentation. Ms. Syaza, the virtual floor is yours. You're welcome.
Alhamdulillah, thank you so much, Dr. Hanif, for the very welcoming introductions. And I would love to say thank you again for inviting me to share, I think, my experience. I can say it's experience from my attachment and also my study with all of you, hopefully. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, I'm so grateful and blessed to be here today. But before I start to share my experience, I would say, can we go for the video, Miss Putri? Thank you so much. I really hope this video gonna give some contact for our participants all around the world, specifically are not coming from Malaysia, what's happening around Malaysia right now.
Allow the technical team to sort out the desktop.
Change affects everyone. But did you know children, especially those living in marginalized communities, are particularly vulnerable? Let's take a trip to 3 communities in Malaysia to see how climate change affects children's futures. Our first stop, Pulau Gaya, an island off the coast of Sabah. Meet Dido. He is a Bajau boy. His father is a fisherman. His mother makes salted fish to sell at the market. They live in a village built on stilts above the seawater. To get to school, Dido and his friends take a boat. They are always happy to be at school. Today, it is raining heavily. The weather fluctuates frequently due to climate change. When the rain gets too heavy, Dido and his friends cannot go to school. His dad cannot go out to catch fish. Thankfully, they can depend on salted fish to eat. Dido's mum sells crafts made from shells and pearls to supplement their income. For the community in Pulau Gaya, climate change means more rain. While rain provides fresh water, too much rain means children can't go to school and parents don't get to work. With less money, many families cannot afford to buy fresh food. Next, let's visit Pos Kuala Mu in Perak. The village sits in the interior of the Pia Forest Reserve. The forest protects the whole village from extreme heat. Juria is a Temia girl. Like most of her neighbors, her parents have a farm. They catch fish in the rivers. They are blessed with available food all year round. Every day, Juria walks to school. Recently, there are days when the rains don't stop. The rains can make the river water rise and swell. The villagers can't cross the river. The heavy rain also causes landslides. This makes it dangerous for Juria and her friends to go to school. For indigenous communities, such as the Timya in Perak, heavy rain can cause flash floods and landslides. This puts the villagers especially the children at risk. Here's our last stop, Kuala Lumpur. Unlike Juria, Bala feels the extreme heat during the dry season. His parents tell him that it is much hotter these days than before. They live in a city and are surrounded by tall buildings. This traps heat and makes it hotter than the other areas. Together with the higher temperatures caused by climate change, it can get unbearable. Bala's family feels the pinch when extreme weather impacts agricultural farms, as this causes the prices of vegetables and other fresh food supplies to rise. This becomes a burden on Bala's family, who does not have a high income level. Rising prices means less food on the table. Children who live in urban areas enjoy better access to clean water, electricity, education, and health facilities. But they still suffer indirectly from the effects of climate change in other places. Stories like this exist everywhere around the country. Dido, Juria, and Bala are children who enjoy their lives and are happy to take each day as it comes. But wouldn't it be wonderful if they could live a life that is secure in a safe, healthy, and sustainable environment and plan their futures so that they can reach their full potential?
I created a video today using KM and EMS. Thank you so much, Miss Putri. So let's do better for our young children. I'm Syaza Soraya Sauli. So today I'm so honored to be here to share with all of you about my small experience tackling about the climate change and young children. I'm going to share my screen right now. And you can see it clearly. Can you give thumbs up or some directions? Can you see the share?
Yep. Clear.
All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much, Dr. Hanif. All right. Let me try to put it on there. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning again to all Malaysian and perhaps who's coming from all around the world. So that was a video. Actually, it's some context that you can get from the Malaysian perspective. So in that video, we understand that we are facing two crises: climate crisis and also the well-being crisis. Talking about the hot, we're talking about El Nino, we're talking about the loss of biodiversity. But on the other hand, we're talking about our young generations. They have shorter attention spans. They have poor sleep, obesity, anxiety, stress, weaker social connections. Perhaps because of one of the reasons are because of the screen time. So which one is too big to ignore? But the truth is, we can't solve one without the other. So today, we could see that education sit in between. So what must education do? What we can do? And I have one question for all of you. When was the last time you spent your time outside in nature? Can someone give me some hint in the chat box? When was the last time you spent your time in nature? Well, I can't see the chat box right now. Perhaps I can try to see any response from the chat box. Last month, that's beautiful. Semalam, oh wow, wonderful. Brisk walking this morning, wow. Aisha and Shara, wonderful. yesterday. And this is something that I think we have to ask ourselves, when was our last time spent in nature? Because of today, we are glued with this. We are glued with the screen more than green. But you have to remember that the more screen you have, the more green you need in our life. Why? Because it actually impact both of these things, climate change and also the well-being. So now we're talking about the kids, our young generations, our future eco-heroes, what we can help, what we can do, what we can nurture them to make sure they're so ready with this kind of thing. When we're talking about the sustainability, the word sustainability actually comes from the two big words, which is sustained and the ability to sustain actually. So okay, I think my slide is not working right now. Miss Putri, can you help me, please? Thank you. I'm so sorry. All right. Thank you, Miss Putri. I really appreciate that. I'm so sorry, everyone. All right. Can go back for the when was the last time you spent in nature? Thank you, Miss Putri. So yesterday, early in this morning, it's very beautiful. So what about our children? When was their last time spent outside in nature? Next slide, please. So this is one of the big quote I believe impact me as a researcher, as a mom, as someone that work with children. Unless you're willing to encourage our children to reconnect with and appreciate the natural world, we can't expect them to help protect and care for it. So in our perspective, tak kenal maka tak cinta. So this is a big word that I think drive me to do my research and to appreciate our nature world. Right? So next. So have you heard about the term nature deficit disorder? Any one of you? Nature deficit disorder? So nature deficit disorder is not being diagnosed by PEDS or medical officer, but this is one of the social problem that happen all around the world. 60% reduction in nature contact has been reported for these 2 decades. It means that we have lesser time spent in nature. And one of the most important thing to acknowledge is being in nature actually can help us to reconnect. And nature connectedness is now accepted as one of the most important key root cause in environmental crisis. So this is based on the research, all right? So when we're talking about the young children, especially when I work with the young children, this sensitive period, 0 to 6 years old, we believe that these are the golden age for young children to develop, to understand the world around them, to nurturing the values, ecological connections, and environmental dispositions. So this is the period that we need to focus on them. Because of what? Because of this period actually will predicting the behavior, the values, the norms that they're gonna carry all around their life. So talking about the Planetiium, I do believe that we are sharing the same objective, and we're talking about reconnecting the children towards nature. We're talking about their relationships towards nature. So this is actually urgently needed. And rebuilding children's relationship with nature is increasingly recognized as a critical educational priority. So next. So what is actually nature connectedness, and why education plays a big role to emphasize on nature connectedness? So nature connectedness is actually one of the physiological construct that strongly believe that we have to have oneness or identity that's connected to nature. We always value nature as a resources, not as an identity. This is something that we need to perhaps tweaks in our young children, to not to see the nature as a resources or even just backdrop in learning. We have to let them know that nature, the animals, the plants, the earth, every single thing around them are actually their own identity. So It's identified with your feelings, your interactions, and individual include nature as a part of the identity, or we call this as a oneness identity. So it is more than just spending time outdoor. When we're talking about spending time outdoor, yeah, we are spending time outdoor, but are we still with this phone at our hands, right? So when you're spending time with nature, you have to use all the sensories that you have to use, activate your touch, your smells, your cognitive, because all these things matters, all right? It's just more than spending times outdoor. It represents a deep emotional and cognitive bond that integrate nature into one's personal sense of self. So research indicates that strong connection to the natural world is actually a basic physiological need that drive both human being and environmental protections, the things that we are discussing today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, I do understand that every single of us are, juggling with everything in our own plate. But I do also believe that every single of us, we are qualified. We have something, at least small things to offer, especially to our young generations that try to understand what is happening all around them. They might not have any idea what is actually climate change. Or if yes, they're going to have like, oh, climate change is something that's abstract. It's a big thing. It's anxiety. But you know that reconnecting with the nature, actually one of the best things that you can do to understand that they are actually part of it. No one will protect that we don't care about, and no one will care about what they have never experienced. Right? Next. So when we talk about nature, how we can do that, how we can help the young children to reconnect with nature. How? Because our young children are always sitting in the classroom, indoor classroom. They're busy with the worksheets. They're busy with the marks. They're busy with the 3M. Yes, it is important, but how we can help them to reconnect, to understand, to fall in love with nature. Nice. With educations that sits in between. Next. I believe that early years environmental educations matters. So I know that some of us are always heard about the environmental educations, but early years environmental education, there is some things that not, I think, really popular yet in Malaysia, but all around the world, they are actually talking about this a lot because of we understand that early years environmental education, we can't teach the young children same like the primary or the secondary students have. We can just let them like, okay, this is a worksheet. You need to understand about the plants. Okay, you can just draw the plants. You can need to count the plant. It's totally different because as these young children, they learn by experiencing sensory integrations and meaningful connection with the world around them. So what is actually earliest environmental educations? So earliest environmental education is one of the educational approach that introduce environmental learning, sustainability values, and meaningful engagement with nature during the early childhood years. And within early years environmental education, learning is understood as not only we learn about the environmental knowledge, but also the values, the attitudes, the disposition that support sustainable living. So this approach actually foregrounds children's relations experience with nature as a central to cultivating stronger connections towards nature. So what are the best way to teach earliest environmental education for the preschoolers? Next. Nature-based learning is actually one of the approach that we can be used to teach earliest environmental education towards our young generations. So what is actually NBL? NBL actually, it's your teaching with the direct interactions, explorations, reflection within natural context, aligning closely with the young children developmental characteristics. So nature-based learning, we're not just talking about what is this? What is that? Why is that? But we're talking about, we learn about the nature, in nature, and for nature. So it's holistic system or approaches that has been used in earliest environmental education. Next. So this is a brain architecture of young children. I love this. I love this pyramid we call it the learning permit. It has been used for occupational therapists so much. So this is how we can understand that how children develop by using this pyramid. So the brain architecture of the young children, it's just not they'll be able to read fast or they'll be able to menjawab sifir dengan laju. However, the brain architecture of the young children start from the basic one, which is the central nervous system. In this area, we can understand that the layers need the experience, the sensory integrations, the meaningful approaches, and experience shape how they think and how they are so ready to be sit down in the classroom to understand what is happening around them. So as you can see here, academic learning, it's here. All of us, we are so focusing on this one. We are focusing on 100% marks. We are focusing on how many A's you can get during examinations. But we always forget about this process. Let children be children. Let them be outside. Do you still remember the last time you being outside have fun when you was a child? I still remember when I climbed a tree, jumping in the muddy puddles, playing in the rain. Because some people say that you are not storing all those sweet memories in your brain, but you're storing all the sweet memories that you have when you were a child in your sensory. And that shaped me. I have a cat. So I think that when I see a cat, I always reflect with my meaningful experience or memories with my old cats. So this is how it works. Tak kenal maka tak cinta, kan? So, nice. So this is what I've got experience when I did my PhD. Alhamdulillah, I defended my PhD, and this is one of the biggest memories that I got in my attachment during my PhD when I had a chance to do my teaching internship or to learn with the experts and to visit and benchmarking the preschool all around the world. But I'm focusing on three, which is Australia, United States of America, and also Japan. So the first photo is when I did my attachment in USA. Of course, they are learning about the bird. The theme of the week is birds. So what they do? They understand how birds, the chicken hatch, for example. This is their own species. Okay? So they are actually acknowledging that their own identity to teach the young children or even the migrations of the birds. Okay, they do have swarm, they do have legs. So this is where they always bring the children out. So nature-based learning, it is not you are always 100% being outside since morning. No, you can bring the materials inside. Let the children experience it, understand it from their own perspective. And this is from Japan. I went there during the summer. It was scorching hot, but still, they're outside. They are outside early in the morning to see the world around them, to acknowledge their values. And this is the young children from Japanese preschool that located in urban areas. They don't have a specific plot for them to do gardening, but they believe that gardening is actually one of the big values that have to be nurtured for the young children because they do have program yang memasak sendiri di sekolah. The children, the Japanese preschool. So the community land, okay, bagi pinjam this plot for them to plant a seed until they can harvest their own vegetables. So this is beautiful engagement I can see. I acknowledge that our preschool, especially in urban areas in Malaysia, we do have some sort of barriers when we talk about the gardening, for example. For those who have a big ground, you're so lucky. But perhaps with the community and partnership, for example, with the Planetiium, right, what Dr. Hanif and team are doing right now, we can always exchange the ideas and the values and also the knowledge. And this is when I did my attachment in Australia. So this is a beach kinders. The beach kinders are located near the beach, of course. They invited First Nation people to share the values of every single thing happen around the beach, the history, to let the children connect it with the world around them. We have our Orang Asli community. And I love to see in 5 years' time, perhaps, orang asli community can be, we're not claiming that orang asli is far from us, but perhaps we can have orang asli identity in our curriculum because we are belong together, right? So they went to the beach area, understand the history, the importance of the seaweed, the importance of how the shark, because there's a lot of shark here in the ecosystem. Even the shark, it's dangerous, but they acknowledge that is the ecosystem that they need to understand. And this is the bushkinder in Australia, in Geelong, Australia. And these two, basically, I also went to Indonesia, to Kota Malang, Indonesia, but I didn't get a chance to put in my thesis. But I can see this is evolving, sekolah alam, TK alam, in Indonesia as well, that they are acknowledging their own values, place-based education in learning. I love to see the bamboos. I love to see how they use the materials. And if someone asking me, is it doable, Syaza, in Malaysia? We are hot. Actually, we're sharing the same climate like Indonesia. We also have our biodiversity. We have a lot of resources that we can use. So teachers, parents, researchers here, we can do something. Start small, and we can start now. So nature is a third teacher, not just a learning backdrop. All right, next. So during my PhD, I do believe that the nature connectedness is one of the big pillars to reconnect children to the world they belong and to prepare them with this kind of uncertainties in these years, I can say. So what are the pillars of the connections? Remember about the three alphabets, ABC. The first one, affective, is how you feel emotionally, affinity, care, and appreciations. They are such a very little creature that always like, wow, whoa, wow. These tiny young children, they always express their own feeling. So let them experience wonder, let them experience joy and calm towards the natural. The behavior, a commitment mindset, and desire to actively engage with, to protect and live in the diversity of nature. Like what Madam Noorjahan did just now. It was a very brilliant. I always amazed with the kind of, people that always give 100% of their hearts towards this. You did great, Madam Noorjahan. And the cognitive, of course, cognitive matters. But remember, cognitive can come parallelly when you indulge them with a very meaningful experience. They can view themselves as an integrated, equal part of the nature ecosystem rather than they separate it or they view the nature as a resource. For example, we're talking about penebangan hutan right now. So try to inculcate the values that actually hutan is a part of us. Hutan is actually one of the living things that need our help, all right, to young children, all right? So next. Okay, smart PD framework, I've been used this. I know that Malaysia, we have to bound with our own curriculum. So the smart PD framework I've developed to make our teachers that have, use different curriculum or our own curriculum in Malaysia to at least use this nature-based learning in earliest setting. So there are different, I would say, elements that you can integrate with to make sure that you can learning across the curriculum with nature-based learning. All right, I'm gonna go one by one shortly. So can we just go for next slide? So space. All right. So for the space, even though you are located in a shop lot, you have a very limited nature. You remember that indoor is also a space. Start now, start small. For example, we have new plants in your classroom right now. Bring one. Bring one. Okay. And I would recommend to bring our native plants and use that as one of the materials for young children. Let them water it. Let them talk to it. Let them experience it, touch it. And you can tell the story to them. And you have a big compound in your schools, use outdoors. Zoning. the outdoor grounds of your preschool or your schools actually, because it's going to help your children feel amazed. I believe that supporting learning environments actually vital to make children happy, engaging, and have fun at schools. And if you are so lucky, you can use this, have a big school perhaps, indoor outdoor school ground, bring them, open up the door for them. All right. So this is one of the best experience they can, get from schools. So this is space indoors, semi-outdoors, outdoors, or even nature excursions outdoor the school's gate. So move to the next one. M, materials. Nature-based learning don't need an expensive material. You can use natural, place-based, and low-cost materials in teaching and learning activities. What have Ms. Noorjahan did just now? You can use our own materials that we have perhaps in our home, bring it to school, a plant, for example. And for example, here, of course, they learn how to, the low hatching, and this one is from the woods. Okay, so we did bring the stick inside the classroom, the stone, the things that we can find from the beach, the shells, all right? And also here, okay, it's actually one of the practices in one of the preschool I visited in the US, when they use this kind of measurement cup, I believe jar, okay, to measure how many waters you use when you're washing your hands. Okay, because kids, they love waters. They're gonna play with them. So this is to make sure they acknowledge how much they use and how much is gonna affect the environment. Okay, maybe you can start with this small today. All right. Okay, next, adult roles. Adult roles, we are teachers. We have a big impact in facilitating or co-exploring the nature around us with the young children. For example, we can start with the simple prompt, give them this thing, magnifying glass. You can find in Echo. Okay, I'm not promoting Echoes, but this is a very cheap one. All right, binoculars, or even you can, develop or what binoculars using the toilet papers, the rolls. Okay, let them pretend play, and also supporting learning environment. Okay, you have this power teacher, and of course we have the community that always supports you. For example, the IIUM, they always have experts, they always have knowledge, they always have the best practices that have been tested in school. Ask them. Okay, and next, resources. So resources is important because most of us believe that I can't start because I know nothing. I can't start because of it's hard to find the resources. So you can use the storybooks, you can have the guidelines, community experts to co-create meaningful and culturally relevant experience. Okay, you don't need to learn or to duplicate what we have been practiced in Western countries, but you can just go back to our own root, our own values. For example, okay, these storybooks. We have a lot of books actually that reflect our culture. So you can just go to the Perpustakaan Awam Malaysia, and you just can, borrow the books and bring back to your classroom. Okay. And for example, here we have a lot of resources online talking about the small things. For example, ladybugs, butterflies, fireflies that eat the mosquitoes and is connected with the dengue fever. It's always been connected. So use this kind of resources. And I do believe that there's a lot of experts, NGOs, people that are willingly want to work with you. Just approach them. As I said before, what Ms. Noorjahan did, they have SWM on board, that's amazing. All right. You have also like people that have knowledge like Dr. Hanif and team talking about the planetary health and everything. They are the big resources for your setting. Okay. Next, the time. If it's really hard for you to have a big time, for example, 2 hours per day to being outside, no worries. Start now, start small. You may start your day outside in nature. Let them explore the world around them. All right? So perhaps in the learning period, you can, during the sciences, for example, you want to know what are the type of plants that you have in the ground, on the ground of your schools. Bring them outside. It's okay to bring the worksheet. It's okay to bring the papers and pencil. As long as they are learning across the curriculum. During the unstructured play, during the mathematics, during science subject, during art subject, or even having lunch outside in nature, right? So next, and this is one of the biggest, I think, important things when we talk about nature-based learning, partnership and collaborations. You have to engage with the families, the parents, to make them understand that this is safe. This is one of the best approach that you can use in integrating children with nature-based learning. The government, the communities, the NGOs, scientists, or other schools to expand the capacity and relevance. Okay, there are a lot of partnerships that you can, network or connect. For example, of course, IUM. I can see you have a goat, not a goat, a ground full of goat, and you have lab, you have veterinarians on board, you have scientists on board, you have a lot of resources. So do email them, ask them, approach them, especially who have funding, but you have no idea what you're going to do with the fund. Approach this kind of people. Start with something, because I believe that they are willing to help you guys. All right. For examples, in talking about the mammals and also oceans, we have market. We have people that work together, that always work together with these mammals in Malaysia. You can talk about the plants and gardening with the community garden bed, And for example, here is a SWM. Okay, they went to one of our schools, bring all these amazing materials. You can look at the young children faces. They're so happy. We even gitar semula kertas, and we use the old newspaper to make the new kertas. And it was a wonderful session with this SWM team. They did great. And I believe that there are also NGOs or peoples with the expert, for example, terumbu chasing, okay, from IUM, I think, IUM as well, Gamu Daland, Frame Kapung, Perpustakaan Awam Malaysia, SW Corp, we have JPN here, which is, I think it is really, really wonderful to have people, important people on board. You have Zoo Negara, you have a lot of people. Do not be shy. Try to email them, approach them, especially who have worked with the GLC, yang ada pelepasan cukai. You can use your money for this kind of things, for helping the young children, to connect them with nature. So next. So of course, when we're talking about learning, documentation is a very powerful tool. Document your learning through photos, through stories, through display to validate the children agency and inspire the community to change. And visible learning builds momentum. It's going to be a very big ripple effect to the communities when they see and they believe that, oh, they are actually learning in schools. All right. So this is something that we can start at your own classroom. And I believe the other teachers going to say like, oh, menariknya. Can we do that as well? So you are doing the jariah as well. You're doing the good deeds. You are simply spreading the good things happening in your classroom. Okay. So next. So that was the Smart PD framework. Perhaps you can use it and integrating it in your own classroom, in your own lessons, or even in your own curriculum. You have a preschool or school on board. So remember, there's no too big to ignore. There's no one too big to ignore. We can't solve one without the other. So let's bring the children back to nature. Let them have wonderful experience when they was a child like we did. Let them play outside nature, connect them, be sympathetic with nature, and acknowledge that nature is one or part of them. this is where we as an adult can soft nestle or be, nestle them with the environment that support well-being, mental well-being, and also preparing them for the climate crisis. Okay, so next, I believe this is the last slide. Yeah, thank you so much. Remember, children cannot love what they do not know. If we want our children to flourish, if we want them to become truly empowered, let us allow them to love the earth before we can ask them to save it. So I think it's all from me. Back to you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Ms. Syaza, for such an engaging and thought-provoking presentation, I believe. Your presentation really highlighted the paradox of today's digital age, right? So while screens, gadgets have become an integral part of our daily life, yeah, they can also serve like a canary in the coal mines, warning us a growing nature deficit crisis among our children, right? So as you pointed out just now, as a Khalifa, we have a shared responsibility not only to teach about nature, but also to reconnect young people with it through meaningful nature-based learning. I really appreciate that. And probably I can extend or add on a little bit from my mind and to carry on from your point just now, why we continue to advance robotic AI education, even in orang asli schools, right? We should also embrace the rich indigenous ecological knowledge that has long guided harmoniously living with nature, right? As Ms. Syaza aptly pointed out, we cannot truly love what we do not know. So by giving children opportunity for a deep sense of connection, care, and lifelong responsibility for our planet. So I think that's the idea, and that's what we are moving on. Okay, so before we move on, I'm delighted to see that we have just now around, now at the moment, we have more than 65 participants. Just now was about 70 participants joining us today. Thank you very much. May I now invite everyone to show your appreciation for Ms. Syaza by giving a thumbs up, perhaps, or maybe a round of applause using the icon, or maybe a reaction of heart using a Zoom reaction, please. Thank you very much for your wonderful support. Okay, we have now open up for a brief question and answer session. Is that okay? If you have any question from Ms. Syaza, please submit them through the chat board. Kindly include your name, possible, your institution, and we will try to address as many as the time permits. Do we have one? Let me see. Okay, any question, or you can unmute and ask Ms. Syaza straight away on this platform. Okay,
And
so
maybe they can also use Bahasa Melayu if they want
yes,
to ask question, right? Yeah.
definitely. By all means, we really want to hear your question. We have one here. Have you observed any long-term behavioral changes? Yeah, it's important, I believe. We need to assess most of the time among children who regularly participate in nature-based learning. Into you, Syaza.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Putri, for the wonderful question. So we're talking about the long, how long is it? So it is also a question over there. But I can see that at first, of course, I can see most of the children are so reluctant to be outside. They think that they have no idea what they're going to do, and they think it's scorching hot to be outside, and they think that it is really hard for them to have fun outside. So when we try to introduce nature-based learning, I do believe that learning environment plays a vital role to support their learning. So we try to build up the mud kitchen. We try to have zoning in our area to make sure that it's welcoming for the young children to, to having fun in nature. Fun is something big deal for the young children, of course. So one of the most prominent activities I did was we adopted butterflies. So do you have any ideas that in Malaysia, some of the butterflies are at endangered species. They are endangered now. So I try to work with the Melaka, Pusat Reptilia dan Rama-Rama Melaka, and we adopted more than 20 butterfly at one time. And we also invited the scientists, the speakers, to talk about the butterflies. At first, when we tried to adopt the butterfly, semua murid, geli, because of the kepompong, the pupa itself, right? I don't want it. Even one of them was cried. And I believe that is a process, because the problem right now is the young children, they have no idea how to start the play and how to start to have fun, because of they're always glued with the screen. They think fun is game, not the experience. So along the week, okay, because it's 7 days to hatch a butterfly, we always make sure they remember to see and talk to their own butterfly, to their own pupa. And then day after day, I can see that they are not, like ew and not being jauh dengan butterfly. They try to give name. They try to, talk like a baby. Hey, what are you doing there? Hari ni bila awak nak keluar? Because they have to put in the journal itself. And the day to, to release the butterfly. Okay, after the butterfly hatch, the day to release the butterfly happened. Okay. And 3 of them cried because of they feel like, saya dah sayang dia, saya dah bagi nama dekat dia, kenapa kita nak lepaskan? This is matters actually, because we understand that we build the connection with the experience. And after that, after a month of that, the teacher reported to me that whenever they saw the butterflies outside in the center, from the center, they always like, is that yours? Itu ke butterfly kita? Mesti dia bawa apa? Benih-benih kan? Mesti dia tolong tanam pokok kan? That kind of the visions or the ideas matters for me. I think because of to see at first the reactions with those papa, and then after 2 or 3 months, the teachers reported to me, it was wonderful to see they understand that they can't kill the butterfly. They have to respect the butterfly. So start small. Start now. Yeah.
Indeed, thank you very much for your question. Perhaps we can take one more, and we have few other comments and response. Perhaps you can follow it up after this. Perhaps the one that I will read out aloud. Let me see. Okay, that's perhaps from our participant here, Suhaila. Okay, there's more coming up. Perhaps I will just take one. Do you have any suggestion on how to avoid the risk of disease transmission or infection while the children playing the mud, sand, and etc.? Perhaps this is talking about the reservoir or the ground to be as a potential threat in certain area, particularly in endemic area that have germs or bacteria, as their grounding.
Okay.
So perhaps your response, Syaza.
All right. So I'm not an expert. I think Dr. Hanif is expert with the germs and bacteria itself. But okay, there was a recent research. The preschool in, I don't remember that, but I can retrieve it back. They changed the playground, the asbestos playground, the plastic playground with the sand and everything, and it's shown that the bacteria is actually very good for the young children. Okay, I'll try to find the papers and share with all of you, perhaps in the email, or I'm gonna give to the IIUM, Dr. Hanif and the team. However, I do believe this is something that not me as a parent, but other parents are concerned with. So when we're talking about playing outside, it's always come with a risk. Okay, and it's important for us as a teacher to make the parents are confident with us. So the previous research, and I will always connected with KKM or Bomber or also police when we were outside, when we out of the school ground, because this is a risk assessment that we have to, to pass before we bring the children out. When we're talking about the sand, mud, and etc. Okay, Dr. Hanif, we do always believe that ubat cacing is helping, right? In terms of masuk kuman dekat kuku, right? And I do believe that there's always empirical research talking about that, right? But as a educational psychologist, I also believe that these things are important.
Yeah. Yeah.
To let them, to have, very wonderful time with sand, with mud and everything. And we also have International Mud Day in 29th June, 2 days before. Okay, because based on my limited knowledge, okay, mud contains of good bacteria. It's best for the sensory integrations. And the most important thing is you have to make the parents understand that mud, the sand, actually give a better good. Of course, they have touching and everything, but there's always something that comes in yang akan mitigate that kind of risk. Maybe Dr. Hanif, you can explain better in terms of, bacteria in itself, but I'm gonna show, I'm gonna, share the empirical papers with all of you.
Exactly. So probably I can add a little bit because maybe a short one. I probably don't want to redirect the direction of the webinar. Maybe open up another discussion. So in microbiology, so perhaps maybe I can give a bit comments on the human protection. Have a skin as an outer protection. It's a physical defense of our immune system that was created. So not to worry. In terms of touching and sensing or playing with the sand or mud or the ground or soil, whatever, because we have our physical defense. As long as no open what we call open wound or maybe no injection. So yeah, so feel free. So there's nothing to limit it. Unless there is some announcement or maybe some circular coming from Ministry of Health saying that certain area is endemic, so certain bacteria in the ground. Yeah, so that is probably yes. So in one of the recreational activities, some site in our place also have been endorsed, been taped, or been recognized as a potential bacteria, dangerous or like a Bucurderia pseudomale that can lead to melioidosis that could be coming from the ground. So in that sense, yes, you probably have to stay away. But if it's your home ground, your home lands, and then it's just all in, whatever that compound that is around, it should be okay. Okay, should be, inshallah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So this is why there's a big why we need Dr. Hanif and experts on board, because this is something that I don't know. I learned. So thank you so much, Dr. Hanif, and to Puan Suhaila. I hope this helps.
Yeah, Syaza, we have a lot of comments and also a question from the chat box, but I think I can't really read it all this time around. We are time checked as well, so we are still within the time for our third speaker. We do have a comment from our participant. I think as rightly pointed out by teacher Noorjahan just now, we have Mr. Ahmad Suhazli, bin Abdul Rahim from Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri Pahang. Welcome, Mr. Ahmad Suhazli, and he also gives some comments, so perhaps you can follow it up with him after this, Syaza. Really, thank you very much for your thoughtful question, everyone, and our sincere appreciation to Ms. Syaza, Soraya, Sauli for your insightful responses and inspiring presentation. Okay. Before we continue, I would like to inform everyone, as I received a message from teacher just now, teacher Noorjahan, has had to leave us the session as she is preparing for her afternoon school session. So on behalf of Planetiium, we sincerely thank her again, and wish her all the best for the rest of her school day, inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, brother and sister, we now come to the third and a final presentation for today's webinar. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Etty Rahmawati from Yayasan Alam Sihat Lestari ASRI from Indonesia. Allow me to read her biography. So, Ms. Etty Rahmawati is an education professional and planetary health education manager at Alam Sihat Lestari ASRI, committed to advancing planetary health education in West Kalimantan, Indonesia. Since 2009, she has led innovative program linking human well-being and environmental conservation through youth education, teachers training, community outreach, and planetary health initiatives. She also collaborates with schools, government agencies, strengthen environmental education. Her contributions have earned international recognition, including the Disney Conservation Hero Award in 2014 and the Indonesia Women's Earth Alliance Accelerated Leaders Award in 2021. Through her work, Ms. Etty continues to empower communities and inspire future generations to protect both people and the planet. Today, Ms. Etty will deliver her presentation titled Walking the Talk, How ASRI's Internal Culture Becomes a Powerful Educational Tool. Her presentation will offer valuable insight into how organizational culture can become a living classroom where sustainability not only taught but practiced every day. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to invite Ms. Etty Rahmawati to deliver her presentation. Ms. Etty, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hanif. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm so happy and grateful to be here, and I feel so honored to be part of the Planetiium International Webinar Series. Thank you for the opportunity, and I also would like to thank you, Ms. Syaza and Madam Noorjahan, but unfortunately she's not here. So very inspiring stories and experience, and so it's so pleasure to learn from you both. And I also would like to thank you, Putri, for having me here connected with everyone here. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about ASRI's culture, how it becomes a powerful education tool. But before I continue the presentation, I have a short video so that you can have short description of ASRI. Ms. Putri, would you please kindly help play the video in the next slide? Semua senyuman berasal dari kisah yang panjang. Begitu pula dengan indahnya sinar matahari yang merekah di pagi hari. Titik senyuman yang saya peroleh berawal dari sini. Hutan beserta riuh para penghuninya. Hutan yang tidak hanya memberikan kehidupan, tetapi juga memayungi jutaan mimpi masyarakat yang berada di sekitarnya. Melalui ASRI, saya ingin ikut dalam upaya pelestarian hutan dengan cara yang tidak biasa. Kami menyelamatkan hutan dengan stetoskop. Kami percaya kesehatan manusia dan kesehatan alam berhubungan erat. Manusia tidak akan sehat tanpa alam yang sehat. Begitupun sebaliknya. ASRI memberikan pelayanan kesehatan pada masyarakat yang hidup di sekitar hutan dan mereka bisa membayar dengan bibit, kotoran hewan, atau sekam padi. Kita juga tidak menutup mata pada perekonomian masyarakat yang semula menggantungkan dirinya pada aktivitas menebang pohon. Dan kita juga tidak akan menyerah untuk mencari alternatif lain. ASRI mendorong masyarakat dengan memberikan pelatihan pertanian organik sehingga terjadi peningkatan kualitas hidup melalui konsumsi pangan bergizi dan peningkatan pendapatan. ASRI melibatkan semua kalangan masyarakat dan menyentuh golongan yang paling rentan dalam komunitas. ASRI juga memberikan pendidikan lingkungan dan kesehatan ke anak-anak sekolah karena merekalah yang akan meneruskan perjuangan konservasi hutan. Kisah panjang senyuman yang tercipta ternyata berawal dari satu titik yang sama, yaitu rumah. Dan rumah kita adalah alam yang sehat dan lestari. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. Okay, so before I continue to tell more about who is ASRI, I want to tell you about my personal story. So I started working in ASRI in 2009. And the first month I joined at ASRI, I was helping facilitating sustainable agriculture training. And here I was so amazed with what I learned while I was there. So I have no background in conservation or environmental education, but my background is education. And during the training, I just feel so grateful and amazed by the creation of God, nature. One thing that I really learned was that even dirty things in nature is very useful. It's when the farmers were trained how to make fertilizer using manure, of course, and also cow urine. So from there, I was just like, it opened my mind that anything in this nature is useful. And not only that it's useful, but it gives good product. So I learned from the trainer that using organic fertilizer, it can also even help to make the soil better. And of course, in result, it gives good products, healthy product. And in return, of course, it makes us healthy. So this one thing that always stays in my mind. And then now, as I work in planetary health education, this is like my responsibility. And of course, it's from my heart that I have to share this, that everything in nature is useful. And there is connection between nature, healthy nature, and our health. So this is how I started become very interested in learning more in nature, because I think environmental education is a lifelong education. Okay, thank you. Next. Okay, so who we are, what I have learned in ASRI, and now how I can end up here in ASRI in a very small place in Borneo for 17 years. So ASRI, Alam Sehat Lestari, is a non-profit organization that has been working in conservation and health since 2007, and using planetary health and radical listening as integrated approaches in all of our community-based programs. Next. So what is planetary health and what is radical listening? So planetary health is one of our approaches. The health of the environment and humans are interconnected and rely on each other. I think we all know that there is connection between healthy environment and healthy people. So for example, with the destruction of forests, it could cause floods, landslide, or drought. But there is also another story that happened here in Sukadana in Borneo. So back around 19 something, in 90s. So our founder, Dr. Kinari Webb, came to Indonesia, and she did research on orangutan in the national park. But once she was doing a research in the national park, she heard the sound of chainsaw. So she was wondering why there is logging activity in the national park. Has it to be protected and no illegal logging activities. So she was like asking around, asked the community, and then she found out that we cannot blame 100% the community because they have no choice. They had no choice. They need money. They need cash. Poverty could also cause forest destruction. We know that forest destruction could also cause disaster, but poverty also could cause forest destruction. So there is a family, the man had to cut down about 60 trees so that he could send his family for C-section. So because of poverty, he needs money, he needs cash. And what he could see in front of him was forest, so he cut down the trees. So actually there is a connection between healthy forest, healthy nature, and healthy people. And this, for poverty that cause forest destruction, has to be broken, the connection of these two. So that's planetary health. We know that there is connection. And then radical listening. This is another approach that we do. What is radical listening? We acknowledged that the rainforest communities are the experts in overcoming challenges related to maintaining the relationship between humans and nature. We believe that the community know their problems and they know their solutions. So we listen to the community because they know what the solutions of their problems. So before we started ASRI, we spent hours, hundreds of hours, travel to different villages and listen to the communities. If the world would like to thank you, what kind of thanks do you want? So through radical listening sessions that we did for hours, we heard from the communities. Two of them that they said are, they want high quality, affordable healthcare and training on farming, because people here live very close to the national park. They still need, back then, the access to healthcare was a bit hard and not many healthcare centers available there. So they had to even transport about 2 hours on a very bad road to go to a hospital. And because most people here are farming, so they also want farming, training on farming. Okay, next. So I quote again about planetary health. So this is from Planetary Health Alliance. Planetary health is a solutions-oriented, transdisciplinary field and social movement focused on analyzing and addressing the impacts of human disruptions to Earth's natural system on human health. So like I mentioned before, we all know that there is connection between healthy forests, let's say, or healthy nature with healthy people, but also poverty could cause forest destruction. So this is a link that we have to break. And to do that, we have to work on transdisciplinary field. And this is what ASRI did. Next slide, please. So where we work. So we are currently working with communities around Gunung Palung National Park, Bukit Baka Bukit Raya National Park, and Tambrau Nature Reserves in Papua. So those two national parks are in Kalimantan, and Tambrau is in Papua. And right now, we are also working on our scale-up projects all over Indonesia. And this year, we are going to do the project in Central Kalimantan, South Sulawesi, and other parts of Papua. Next, please. Okay. And through all the journey of ASRI, we have collaborated with Ministry of Forestry, Ministry of Health, and National Research and Innovation Agency. Next. So what we do. So like I mentioned before, ASRI works on interdisciplinary field of aspects. Next, please. So we have healthcare. We have clinic. We do mobile clinic to remote areas where healthcare centers are not easy to access. So we traveled. So our doctor and our nurses and our pharmacy travel to different remote areas to do medication. And then we also do TB program, because TB is still one of health problems in Indonesia. And also we do health education We do public health education for school students and community village. We also do geriatric class and pregnancy class. So those are some of the projects that we do in health programs. Besides that, we also do conservation and livelihood. We do reforestation, forest monitoring and forest guardians, sustainable agriculture training, goats for widows, chainsaw buyback program. And the third one is planetary health education. And this is what I'm responsible for this work, and I've been doing it for more than 17 years, and I just love it. So in planetary health education, we have ASRI kids, ASRI teens, community outreach education, teacher training, planetary health camp, planetary health lecture, internship, and volunteering, which I will explain in more details in the next slides. Next, please. So health. Next. Health clinic was established in 2007, and this responds to what the community mentioned during radical listening, because one of them that they mentioned was high quality, affordable healthcare. So this is, we started with clinic in 2007. So ASRI Health Clinic has been a solution to the community's healthcare needs. The clinic provides high quality, affordable healthcare to all community members, allowing people to prioritize their health without having to choose between their well-being and cut down trees in the forest. Why? Next, please. So this is what unique about our clinic. So we offer discount up to 70% discount for the community living around Gunung Palung National Parks, only if they protect the forest. If there is no forest disturbance, then they can get discount up to 70% discount. So how we know that this person gets 70% discount or zero discount? So we have some indicators that we monitor. So we have staff, and of course in collaboration with the National Park Office, to see if there are any indicators found in their village. So for example, there is garden or not in the national park, so in the area of national park, whether there is or there is no farming land in the national park, whether there is palm oil plantation in the national park, whether there are loggers living in the village that go to the forest, go to the national park and cut down trees, whether there is wood stacking, that the wood comes from the national park or not, whether there is logging access points. So for example, if there is a river or road that people use to get wood from the national parks and have it in their village. And then whether there is sawmill or not, that the wood comes from the national park. So if there are no indicators at all, patients that come from one village will get discount 70% if they come to our clinic. And if, for example, can you go back? And if, for example, there are about 1 to 5 indicators, then the discount is 50%. So that means that that village is yellow. And if we find more than 5 indicators, I mean, here in points, yeah, we have like scores. If it's more than 5, then the discount will be 30%. Blue is for community living around national park, but they don't live close to the national park, or they don't live at the border of the national park. We still give them discount because it's still they are still trying to protect the national park, although they live far. But if we find only one indicator, then that village will turn into red. So the discount will be 30%. While purple, no discount, is for community that don't live around national park. So for example, if there is a patient coming from Jakarta, they don't live close to the park, they don't live around Gunung Palung National Park, of course we still serve them, but they don't get discount, because discount here is appreciation, is an incentive for the community protecting the forest. And this color or this monitoring is done every 4 months. So every 4 months might change. So if, for example, there is a forest disturbance this month, but in the next 4 months, there is no forest disturbance that happening in the national park close to their village, then the discount will change. So this is the unique about ASRI. So we offer discount for people living around Gunung Palung National Park because they already try to protect the national park. Next, please. Again, to answer the community of high quality, affordable healthcare, we also offer them non-cash payment. So patients who come to our clinic can barter for treatment with tree seedlings, handicrafts, manure, or labor. And these seedlings are in turn used to reforest corridors of critical orangutan habitat. So here I can say that ASRI work not only focusing on health, but also in conservation for healthy people and also healthy nature. Okay, next. Okay, conservation and livelihood. So I say before that it's integrated between health and conservation. What do we do in conservation and livelihood program? Next, please. So this is the data is based on the annual report, December 2025. So far we have saved the forest about 435 hectares in degraded area. This is of course in collaboration with the National Park Office, and also we empower the community. So people work for these reforestations, and even some of the workers in reforestation are former loggers. So here we work with the community and we work with National Park Office. Next, please. Okay, this is just an example of pictures of reforestations that we have done. So we started in 2009. You can see that seedling. And then, in 2010, 2015, and 2021 has changed. And we have, so far we have done reforestation in 4 different areas, in 4 different sites, integrated area in the national park. Okay, so now we are also trying to switch from using plastic into eco-poly bag. And this is also another way of empowering women, reducing plastic, and support local economy. Okay, next is forest disturbance monitoring. So like I mentioned before about the discounts and different, we call it eco status. So different colors and different discount, different payment. So ASRI is partnering with local communities. So we also have staff that work in forest disturbance monitoring, but we also partner with local communities, and we call them forest guardians in sub-villages to monitor forest disturbance indicators, like I mentioned before. So there are 7 indicators. So that's what we see working with the forest guardians, and monitoring data for color-coded healthcare discounts at ASRI Health Clinic. So we use that to decide whether sub-village is red, green, yellow, blue, or purple. So this is what we use for monitoring. And then the next one is sustainable agriculture. So this is like the one that really amazed me at the beginning. I started joining at ASRI. So far we have trained more than 300 farmers and housewives to produce organic fertilizers, herbicides, and etc., and supported about 103 marginalized women, raising over 331 goats as an alternative livelihood through Goats for Widows programs. So for Goats for Widows program, this is not only that they can use the manure, because we also train them how to do sustainable farming, but also this is a way to raise to raise their economy, so that the idea there is no family of the goats will go to the forest and cut down trees. So this is in terms of economy. And then through this program, we also assist and support the legal processes for the farmer groups, because there are some farmer groups that we have trained. They have opportunity to get support from the local government, so that ASRI also helping them to do legal processes. After we make groups, we train them, and then we also help them with legal processes so that they can also get funds from the local government. Next, please. chainsaw buyback. And this is a very cool program, I think. So not only that we say, look, you should not cut down trees because it can cause disaster, but we also try to give solutions, because they always say like, okay, if we are not allowed to cut down trees, so then what should we do? So we cannot blame them, because they might have no skills, they might not have enough money to start a business. So what we do is we have helped about 309 household loggers since 2017 in transitioning their livelihood from illegal logging to business. Well, actually, this data is based on 2025, but I checked with the coordinator that we actually have helped more than 360 loggers from switching being a logger and doing another business. So what we do is encouraging them. So they give their chainsaw to ASRI, and in return, we pay in cash, and also we give them modal? I don't know how, loan. So we give them loan so they can start a new business. But of course, we don't just give them cash and we give them loan. No, we monitor. They have to make a list what they need. And then we go shopping together just to make sure that they spend the money as what it needs for their business. And we monitor every month. So this is so they switch their chainsaw, we give them cash and loan. They have to pay back the loan, no interest. But the cash, of course, because it's a barter for the chainsaw, so then they can start a new business. So active loggers translated into 8 business groups: agriculture, aquaculture, construction, fishermen, food services, retail, service, non-agriculture, and other 45 business types. So of course, the idea of the business comes from them, and we just encourage them, we monitor them, and if later they have paid back the loan, let's say, and they want to develop their business, they can also get more loan from ASRI and without interest. Next, please. Planetary health education. So this is what I do, and I love it so much. For 17 years, I've been working with the community, and let's have a look at what we have done. Here we have ASRI Kids. So thank you so much, Ms. Syaza, and also Madam Noorjahan, before very inspiring stories and experience, and maybe later we can also doing knowledge sharing. Yeah. So we also have ASRI Kids. So ASRI Kids is an after-school program for primary school students, and we do also in classroom activities and also outside classroom. So yeah, we do in classroom activities through games, watching movies, observation, and also we do field trips. So with ASRI Kids, we usually go to the national park, and then we do planting there, and also with ASRI. So that's with ASRI Kids, and we develop our own module. So we have a module, and the materials that we cover in the module, for example, about tropical rainforest, and then about national park and its biodiversity, and about endangered species that they have to protect. They learn about climate change in a very simple, of course, method and simple material for primary school students. They also learn about environmental threats, so for example, about trash. They also learn about ocean. They learn about mangrove and river, because they live very close to the forest, but also they live very close to the ocean and mangrove. So this module, of course, is developed based on the situation, based on the environment in this area. And so that's an after-school program activity. But now also in my team, we are working on co-curricular activities. So we just developed co-curriculum module that we are going to share with the environment, with the education department sometime soon. And then the next one is ASRI Teens. So ASRI Teens, actually, they are this program, the idea comes from former ASRI kids who turned into teens. So they didn't want to be called kids anymore, so they named themselves ASRI teens, and I thought that was very good idea. Back then in 2015, they even also helped me traveling to different schools, teach ASRI kids, and then from 2015, then we started with ASRI teens. So we thought this ASRI kids that started in 2012 and ASRI teens that started in 2015 was very good program. So in 2012, we approached the education department. We want to expand this program because at the beginning, we only did around ASRI. But then when we came to the education department, we show about this program, and the parents were also happy, very positive, because we do also parent-teacher meeting. And then we have expanded in definitely more than 30 schools, and we have reached about 1,000 kids around the area. So yeah, so that's ASRI kids and ASRI teens. And we thought that it might not be sustainable because I only work with one person in my team. So we were thinking of doing teacher training because teacher could continue the programs. Because usually we travel in school for like a few months and then we go to different schools. But then starting in 2021, we started with teacher training. And this was also very positive. Of course, we collaborate with the education department and environmental department, and they really support this. So we have done teacher training and we have reached more than 60 teachers. The other one that we do is community outreach. So we also travel to different villages and do community outreach education to raise awareness about the connection between healthy people and healthy nature and the connection. And then we also do planetary health lectures. So we go to different universities to promote about the concept of planetary health and also to promote ASRI as the model of planetary health in action. We also do planetary health camp, and in this project, we usually invite youth to come here. Last year, we just invited 7 university students all over Indonesia to come here to learn about planetary health and ASRI as planetary health in action. And we also do internship and volunteering. So we have some students from Indonesia to do internship, and we also have national and international volunteers to come here to learn about planetary health and see ASRI. So if anyone here are interested to visit ASRI, to visit Sukadana, please, you are welcome. And as you saw before the video, just to give a short description what Sukadana is like, and that's where ASRI is. Next, please. Okay, so beside that, we also do some planetary health classes for the staff and also for forest guardians, also for DOTS workers. So we have some tradition. So this is also part of the things that we encourage our staff so that we can be a model for planetary health in actions. So if you one day come here, you will see that our building is designed using less air conditioner. So we have so many windows with good ventilation, big tall doors, so that we have enough sunlight and airflow. So we can use lack of air conditioners. So air conditioners here are only used in our clinics. So for example, for our pharmacy, for our lab, for our radiology room. But apart from that, the rooms, we just use fans. And then we also, if you see the next picture, we use bamboo, so non-timber product. We use this in our building as well. And we do solar panel for some buildings. And we also conserve water. So we use rainwater for our drinking water. So we filter it and we use this for our daily consumption of water. And we also try to encourage our staff and give examples to the community in reducing plastic. So if you see the next one, that was during COVID, and it was during Ramadan, because during Ramadan, so many people selling snacks, food, and then, yeah, so among ASRI staff, we encourage to bring our own containers so that we can reduce plastic. And then the next picture is example how we usually run an event. So we try to reduce plastic. So we always use buffet. We don't use any, because probably you are familiar in Indonesia, we have like a cup of mineral water. So we try to avoid that. We don't use plastic bottle for the water, but we use dispenser, we use containers and plates for this event. And we always encourage our other stakeholders. For example, if I visit schools and they provide food, so we encourage them to do the same thing. And we also encourage the staff to use bicycles. So if one day you come visit ASRI, you will be provided with bicycles. And this is my main transportation means. So wherever I go shopping, I visit friends, I use bicycles. I mean, in a short distance, yeah, not in 2-hour car drive. But this is just like also a give example to the community that we try to be a model of planetary health in action. Next, please. So for what we have done, we are acknowledged by the government. So because we focus on health and conservation, they often involve us in many activities, especially in health and conservation. And education, the same thing. So I work in a planetary health education program. I've been in collaboration with environmental education department, with education department. So if any projects related to environmental education, they always involve ASRI. So like in the first one, we are recognized for contributing to the writing of the environmental education book. So environmental education is part of the local content subject. And actually back then, a few years ago, we advocated the education department to do environmental education as a local content subject because we live very close to the forest. We live very close to the ocean, mangrove. So then, yes, finally it was launched. We have the books, and ASRI also contribute to the writing of the book. And then we appreciate it for serving on the local content curriculum development team. So yeah, we are involved. We work, we support the local government. And almost every year, not only in this regency, but also in different sites, we are honored in recognition of ASRI's contribution to advancing education in the regency. So next. And these are other achievements that we have received. So more than 150,000 patients visit and received more than 180,000 seedlings from patients that we use for reforestation projects. And then more than 700,000 seedlings planted in more than 435 hectares of degraded areas through intensive garden to forest type of reforestation with 77% of survival rate. And then more than 1,000 people supported in livelihood through chainsaw buyback program, goats for widows, and farming training. And we have recorded that 50 plus wildlife species returned to reforested areas because we put camera traps in the reforestation area. So we recorded more than 50 species come back to the forest, including the critically endangered and endangered species. And more than 38,000 people reached through planetary health classes. Like I mentioned before, we do ASRI Kids, we do ASRI Teens, teacher training, and lectures. So we have reached elementary and high school students, university students, teachers, healthcare staff, and village community. Okay, and ASRI also has done some researches. These are example of the researches. And then next. And ASRI has also been, written in some media. So yeah, I would say that because what we do, and we try to be a model of planetary health in action, and then we share to others. So I think that ASRI interculture is a very powerful tool for education. And these are some awards that we have received. Yeah. Next. So I want to say that to change the world for better, it has to start from us and then share to others. So through internal culture of ASRI, then this could be a very powerful tool for education. Thank you.
You're welcome. Wow. Thank you very much, Miss Etty, for such an inspiring and insightful presentation. So early in your presentation, you powerfully, Miss Etty, illustrated the close connection, I believe, between poverty and environmental degradation. And we learned how breaking this cycle requires really integrated, community-driven solution. I believe everyone here will agree that ASRI initiatives are truly inspiring, from Help for Nature, Barter System, Eco Plant Bag. So interesting to see that. Chainsaw buyback programs, ASRI Kids and ASRI teams. I was so excited, so love to see that about a unique ASRI tradition, which shows that how strong organizational culture can inspire sustainable behavior every day. Thank you for sharing such an inspiring journey with us, Miss Etty. Please join me showing your appreciation to Miss Etty by giving a thumbs up, a round of applause, or heart reaction using Zoom reactions. Thank you for your wonderful support. We will now open for Q&A. Maybe we open a short Q&A session. If you have any question for Miss Etty, please submit them through the chat box, or you can unmute and say it loud. Kindly include your names, your institution, and we will try to address as many as questions possible. Let me see. We have some. Okay, so we have one question here. Ms. Etty, thank you for your sharing. Think that many institutions may find ASRI's integrated and wide approach inspiring, but worry about limited manpower. So that is sound familiar. What advice would you give to organizations with a fewer staff that wish to initiate similar community-based planetary health program?
Okay, so let me try to answer. I know in planetary health education program, there's just me and my team, and one person in my team. But another way what we can do is involving the community. So, for example, myself, in a planetary health education program, we often also involve ASRI teams in supporting any activity. So, for example, we are going to celebrate ASRI's anniversary, okay? ASRI Teens Help. And also, for example, reforestation. Of course, this is not a kind of work because this is just an activity, but it's a big help, involving ASRI teens, volunteering, and for example, reforestation. Reforestation is a big project. It's a big project, but we involve community. So we pay them daily or maybe in contract, but we always involve the community. And of course, we have volunteer program. So if anyone wants to voluntarily come and help, that's also a very good way how we manage all the activities. So so far we have about 80 people, but in such a big organization, and we do so many things, but we always involve a community. So for example, with forest guardians, they are also, they work voluntarily to help monitor the area in their village. Yeah, that's forest guardians. We also have DOTS workers that they work part-time. They also help, passing medicine to TB patients. So we have one coordinator, but we have TB workers, and we involve community. So yeah, that's another way how we involve community.
Great, thank you very much. Is there any more questions from the chat box? Or if you would like to ask a question directly, please unmute and then you can introduce yourself. so that we can try to get Ms. Etty to address your question. Anyone? That is fine. So we continue to collect any question, and if you are interested in connecting to any of our speakers, Miss Etty, Miss Syaza, and also Teacher Noorjahan, please do so. Let us know. We can share the email address and connecting you throughout this important and fruitful discussion here today. In the chat box, do we have more? Okay, many. We do have a comments here from Syaza mentioned here about 50 plus wildlife species returned home. This is superb. Well done, Miss Etty and ASRI team. Is congratulating ASRI and the team. Any further comments and questions?
There is another question. Many environmental program experience a decline. Is that answered yet from Norfico?
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, thank you to address that. Yep. Many environmental programs experience a decline in participation over time. How does ASRI keep up with the communities, volunteers, and partner engaged and committed to this initiative in the long term? Yeah, Ms. Etty?
Okay. So I think the key that how we still keep engaged with the community and committed to its initiative in the long term is that because we use the approach radical listening. So with radical listening, all of the ideas, all the solutions come from the community. So by listening to them and having them as the expert, so anything comes from them, the ideas, and then we just support and facilitate it. So I think how we can still engage, it's because that's what they need, that comes from them, and then we help support it. So by listen to the community, I would say.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Etty. We have one more question. Perhaps you can answer briefly. From Pavitra, may I ask about the internet connection around the forest area? So do the villager use any Wi-Fi connection or any mode of communication to keep the update?
Yeah, now it's getting better, and it's so much different compared to when I started. So even if I use the internet, I had to go to the office because we have better connection. And that's why before I sent my presentation to Miss Putri, in case, because sometimes the connection of the internet is unstable, and I send my presentation, could you please later play it because I also have a video. But now it's getting better. So as now, and this regency is quite new. Well, the anniversary is about the same as ASRI. So it's been 19 years. So it's been growing, and the connection is better. Only once in a while, there is unstable connection. But overall, we have, yes, I have internet connection. But not in, but on, this is also where I live is like in the town, but in some remote areas, no connection. So for example, in the villages where we do mobile clinic, so there is no internet connection, but now maybe they provide, what is it, a satellite, I don't remember what's Starlink, which is better, but there is no electricity. So the electricity is only from late afternoon until about 10 a.m. So it depends on different areas, but we have reached some of those villages as well. And also in the other side, like I mentioned before, there's also other side. There's very limited internet connection and no electricity. So yeah, but in Sukadana it's better.
Thank you for sharing. Again, ladies and gentlemen, all dear participants, thank you for the engaging discussion and our sincere appreciation to Ms. Etty Rahmawati for sharing ASRI's inspiring journey and valuable insights. For your information, Teacher Noorjahan, who has joined us again after arriving safely at her school. Okay, so thank you for taking the time to reconnect with us. Despite your busy schedule, we're delighted to have you back, teachers. I think Okay, so as we come to the end of today's webinar, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all three of our distinguished speakers for generously sharing their experience, expertise, and my sincere thanks also go to all participants from Malaysia, Indonesia, and beyond for your active participation and thoughtful question. We really hope today's webinar has inspired all of us to recognize that education is one of the most powerful tools for advancing planetary health and sustainable well-being, from repurposed everyday material to reconnecting children with nature and to cultivating organizational cultures that truly embody sustainability. Before we conclude, please remember to complete the attendance form if you wish. If you have not done already done so, the link I believe is perhaps now available in the chat box. We are also pleased to share that the recordings of today's webinar will be uploaded to the Planetiium YouTube channel. Okay, so we invite you to like, subscribe, and share the channels with your colleagues, student friends, so that more people can benefit from our future webinar, this webinar and future webinars and educational initiative. Finally, I invite all speakers and participants who are able to turn on your cameras for a group photography session. Okay. I will count until maybe count down to from 3 to 1, and then we're going to take a photo. So let's show our good smile today. Okay, so are you ready? So 3, 2, 1. One, two, three. 3, 2, 1. Okay. One more freestyle. Okay. Is that all? Technical things? Okay, thank you very much for your cooperation and participation in today's webinar. Okay, so we finally here come to the end of the session. Thank you once again for joining the Planetiium International Webinar Series, Peace Series 2, 2026, Teaching for Planet Education as a Driver of Sustainable Wellbeing. That's all from me. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to welcoming you to our next Planetiium webinar. Thank you very much. See you again.
So much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mbak Etty.
Thank you, Pak Wijali.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you, Mbak Etty. Thank you, Madam. Thank
Nice
you, Dr.
sharing,
Hanif, and
Dr. Syaza and Miss
team.
Etty. Nice sharing.
Madam Noor, Dr. Hanif and Syaza, thank you. So pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Hanif. Thank you, Putri.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.